This is a steampunk-themed chocolate making game in which you are running your own chocolate factory. The whole game has this industrial revolution vibe, with steam-powered machines and a vintage industrial feel. I have to say, the AI art in the game's cover made me skeptical at first, and I certainly don't think it's a good decision to basically cheap out on your official game's cover, but the game is still better than I expected. The core of the game is all about taking customer orders and making different types of chocolate to their specifications. Some of them are more basic, while others are much more fancy and refined. At the beginning, you start with basic stuff like dark chocolate bars, but it expands into more complex creations later. When making chocolate, you have to be pretty precise with your measurements. You are working with ingredients like cocoa powder, cocoa butter, milk, and of course sugar. The actual chocolate making process is pretty detailed. Firstly, you measure your ingredients, heat them to specific temperatures, mostly around 40 to 55 degrees. Mix everything together with a spatula, pour it into molds, and then ultimately package it up. What's interesting is that if you mess up the measurements, you actually have to throw everything out and start over. There is a dedicated garbage chute meant for the disposal of failed attempts. There is something I kinda miss in this game, and that is actually seeing how much of a product you're adding, with real-time animations, if that makes sense. The game does sometimes do that, but a lot of times the animations are not smooth and gradual, like this, but rather just instantly jump from one condition or state of the product to the next. Likely not a deal breaker for most people, but this is something I think could make the game much more satisfying if they implement more of these animations in the future. Now the game has this robot assistant named Nougat, who you can assign tasks once you upgrade them. You start by installing their communication module, and then he becomes more helpful as you progress. The game definitely does have a proper management aspect too. You've got a pretty massive recipe book that keeps track of all your formulas and business info, and you earn money from completed orders. The orders come in through a telephone, and completed orders get delivered by what's basically some kind of steampunk air balloon system. The factory itself has different stations. You've got your cooking area, a press for molding the chocolate, various packaging machines, and a furnace that needs coal to power everything. Pretty much all these machines need maintenance too. For this, you get a wrench to tighten things up when they get loose. You can pretty intricately customize your factory later on. The game can be surprisingly challenging, despite its simple appearance, since precision is important in getting the recipes right. But fundamentally, the core gameplay loop is just taking orders, making chocolate according to specifications, and then delivering it. There don't seem to be significant additional gameplay mechanics, like managing employees, competing with other factories, or expanding to new locations. And that sentence concludes today's video. If your time was respected, a like or comment is very much appreciated.